Okay, so we are going to start now, and the student helper is sending you the file. Then, because actually, we're going to have some activities to work on. Okay, so please let him know your student number so that he can send you the file. Okay, so can you all see the share screen here? You're good. Okay, so let me introduce myself. Can you see me here on the video? And so I'm Grace. I'm the lecturer from the English department, and okay, today I will be the speaker of the workshop. And so please have a look at here. Okay, so is it all right with the share screen? And so this is actually like what we are going to do today. From borrowed words to original ideas and your guide to academic authenticity. Yeah, so basically, today we will focus on working on how to avoid plagiarism because we have to try to keep everything authentic and as your own ideas. But then sometimes when we borrow someone's idea, perhaps we have to look at how we should avoid them. Now, so this is especially important when we are in the academic field because, as you know, no matter when you write research paper, academic essays, report, whatever. And so besides your own original ideas, sometimes we have to borrow ideas from others. Okay, and then so in what way, especially now with the prevalence of using ChatGPT, so how can we stay like if we have to borrow someone's idea, how can we avoid this kind of plagiarism and then so not to commit this kind of serious mistakes and then because actually there could be a very great influence if we cannot work on our papers properly and then with proper citation. So today we are going to look at like how we can do it. Okay, so first, what is plagiarism? And then so I guess which year are you in actually? Like, would it be year one or two? And then because actually, if for some of the year one students, they may not be very familiar with what means by plagiarism because like in the past, perhaps in high school when we write like our writing usually is composition, so we can write whatever we want and then so perhaps we don't need particular sources to support our ideas. But now because you are in the like a university level, so it's actually more advanced, so how to make your writing more convincing, so this is actually one of the ways where we have to borrow ideas from different sources and actually it helps you not just to support your ideas but actually is um showing others you are familiar with the topic that you're working with. So that would be something that we would like to do. So that's why we have to first look at what is plagiarism. Okay, and then so we are going to have a look at a first small activity. Okay, and then so this is actually like a very simple extract, and then so you can have a look at it. Okay, so on the left hand side, this is the original text, and then on the right hand side, this is so-called like rephrased text. Okay, but can you have a look at the like? You don't need to really understand like all the contents there, but you can just have a quick look. Okay, so if I ask you a very general question, is it plagiarism? So can you tell me why or why not? So if you're on Zoom, you can just show me your answers by typing it in the chat box so that I know like oh if you are able to catch up or if you are good or not. Okay. So we have like two participants here, right? We have Demi and we have Zijun. Okay, so can you tell me what do you think this one? Is it plagiarism? So you can tell me yes or no. What do you think about it? So if we look at like some of the wordings, okay, and then so can we see like very similar wordings here? Perhaps not really. It's like a summary of it. Okay, and then so because the version is shorter, right? And then so that's actually one of the ways how we can do if we have particular sources from others. Okay, so besides rephrasing it, we can shorten it as a summary. But then if we look at it here, do you think that this is plagiarism or not? So this one is actually a plagiarized piece. Okay, and then so do you know why that would be the reason? What's the reason for this one? So if we look at this, okay, so perhaps this is like a summary, just a shorter version. But then do you see any citations? Okay, usually we have citations at the end if you remember anything. So we have the author's name and then we have the year of publication here. But now we don't see it at all. So this one would be what we consider as plagiarism as well. Because even if you try to paraphrase a text or if you summarize a text in your own words, however, if you don't have like this citation, so we would still consider it as plagiarism because students would be confused that, oh, I'm using my own words. And then so why I still commit plagiarism? So this is actually the reason because you are borrowing someone's idea. So it's important that you have to cite the source, okay, from a particular, the publication. So this one actually is considered as plagiarism. Okay, and then so if you try to have a look at another one, okay, so do you think that this one is plagiarism or not? Okay, so previously we don't see any citation, and then so again, this one in this piece, do you see any citation? It seems again no, right? But there are one more thing. Okay, if you look at the wordings, can you try to have a look at some of the wordings? For example, whoops. Okay, so if we have a look at some of these, can you see some of the wordings here? Okay, and then compare it to this one. Okay, and then also if you have like a piece here, okay, and then so we have another piece here. So if you look at certain of those, and then again, okay, some of the wordings are actually quite similar here. And then so we will consider this as plagiarism still, because actually you are copying from different sources. Okay, okay, and then so for example, like some of these, look at that. Okay, here. You see, actually, these are highly similar. Or basically, they're the same. Okay, and then so like this one. Okay, so that would be something what we call as a patchwork plagiarism. That means you are using different sources and then you just copy like one sentence or another sentence from different sources. And then so even if you have citations here at the end, okay, we will still consider it as plagiarism because you didn't rephrase the words. Okay, but then if you have the word here like all the same, and so what we need is we need, for example, double quotation marks. Okay, and then so for whatever that they are exactly the same as the original text, if you want to borrow it, okay, so you need the double quotation marks, right? Now, so that's actually something we have to think about. Okay, so how can we avoid plagiarism? Okay, so first, let's have a look at some of the different types of plagiarism. So I'm going to play you a very short video to understand plagiarism, and then so afterwards we will see how we can avoid them. Okay, so let's have a look. So please let me know if you can hear this or not.
Some of you may have relaxed too much and didn't actually write your own papers. In fact, I believe a certain few of you took almost everything right off the internet.
Worried you might be him? Then you should definitely keep watching. Hi, I'm Jessica from Scribber, here to help you achieve your academic goals. Plagiarism is when you use someone else's words or ideas without crediting the source and pass it as your own. It's okay to use others' words and ideas, but you have to cite them.
Okay, can you all see the video here? I'll share the screen. Can you see it?
Jessica from Scribber, here to help you achieve your
Is it
academic
okay?
goals. Plagiarism is when you use someone else's words or ideas without crediting the source and pass it as your own. It's okay to use others' words and ideas, but you have to cite them. Committing plagiarism might save you time for a short while, but it comes at a high price. Depending on your institution's rules and the type of plagiarism, you might fail your course or even get suspended or expelled from your university. And no one wants that, right? Let's talk about 5 types of plagiarism you might encounter. Although they differ in severity, it's still not acceptable to commit any kind of plagiarism. And plagiarism checkers like Turnitin can detect all of them very easily. Verbatim plagiarism, also known as copy and paste plagiarism, as its name suggests, is when you directly copy and paste text from a source without citing the author. If you want to use an author's exact words, you need to quote the original source by putting it in quotation marks and include an in-text citation. Check out our video on how to quote. Imagine a patchwork. You take different pieces of cloth and make it into a whole. That's exactly what patchwork or mosaic plagiarism is. You copy phrases and ideas from different sources and put them together to create a new text. In order to piece the different texts together nicely, this kind of plagiarism often includes some paraphrasing. It also requires a little more effort than the rest. So if you're already putting in the effort anyways, might as well completely avoid it. If you need a little help on paraphrasing, I got you. Click this video here. Paraphrasing plagiarism is the most common type of plagiarism, so pay extra attention. It's completely okay to paraphrase, but just because you rewrote it in your own words doesn't make the idea yours. So remember to give credit and cite the original source. Global plagiarism is when you take someone else's work entirely and use it as your own. That includes if you find a text online and submit it as your own, but also if you get someone to write your essay for you, like her.
But this is the exact same paper, word for word, that you can buy for $15 on turnpaper.com. It even has the same title and footnotes.
Maybe they copied my paper.
This is one of the most serious type of plagiarism, as it involves deliberately and directly lying about the authorship of a work. So don't even think about it. You can also commit plagiarism by reusing the work you've previously submitted. This is called self-plagiarism. So no turning in a paper you've already submitted for another class or recycling ideas developed from previous assignments. Just because it's your own work, it still counts as academic dishonesty because you've already gotten credit for the work. Woohoo! Now you're ready to move on to how to avoid plagiarism. Click this video here. But before you go, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. I'll see you there.
Let's have a look at actually like more of the details of it. So this is actually like a very quick introduction. Let me go back to here. Okay, so this is actually just a very quick introduction regarding plagiarism. Okay, and then so any types of plagiarism would be considered as like a very serious incident, and then especially like some of these, for example, global plagiarism, verbatim plagiarism, and then so these are actually those that we should really avoid. And even for self plagiarism, some of the students may be confused that, oh, it's my own work, and how can I not just copy it? And that's because actually you've submitted it already. So if you want to use some of the sources, to at least you need to paraphrase, or you have to change some of the focus of your work there. Okay, so then how should we avoid plagiarism is really important. So I'm going to teach you some techniques how to do it, because sometimes like as an instructor and also when I teach writing, some of the students actually would tend to overuse, for example, direct quotation. They keep using like direct quotations as the way how to avoid plagiarism, but this is something that we have to be very careful. Okay, and then so I'm going to talk about first about quotation. So if you know what means by, like, if you look at the PowerPoint slides here. Okay, so that's actually like the first one. Okay, about using someone's exact wording. So okay, we don't change anything. We just borrow the ideas and we use the same wording. So that's the quotation. And then so another technique would be like how to paraphrase. So paraphrase, of course, using your own words. But what kind of techniques we can have? So I'm going to show you. And of course, like summary as well. And so you can try to shorten the text of the original sources. And then so that's actually some of the different like techniques how we can do to avoid plagiarism. Okay, so the first one, let's have a look. So we may try to avoid plagiarism when quoting. Okay, and there are actually some of the principles that we have to bear in mind about quotation. So when we want to use direct quotations, we are copying the text directly. So this is actually something we cannot overuse it. Okay, so in general, in academic field, okay, so you may have to mark it down. Always remind yourself you should not have more than 10% of your like wordings. Like for example, if you're writing 1,000 words for academic essays, and then you cannot have more than 100 words as a direct quotation, because we have to use direct quotations only based on a few circumstances. Because if you always use like overuse quotations, that means you cannot show your writing ability or your writing skills at all. And then so we have to think about if only like when we have a definition. Okay, and then so definition will be something that is like very easy to be misinterpreted. And so that's actually one of the things that maybe we want to stick to the original definition, so we don't want to change a word. And usually it's not a very long one, and then just a short one. So we may use direct quotations. And then sometimes maybe the original text could be very difficult or complicated, and then we don't want to misinterpret it. And then so you may use direct quotation. And then some others could be like if you are analyzing the original text, of course, because that's the text I'm analyzing. So I use the original wordings. And so in this case, you can use direct quotations. Okay, and then so of course, some others reasons would be to maintain the authority and style. You don't want to change the original style of the writing, and then so perhaps you would want to use some of the direct quotations. Okay, so that's actually something we may see like here. Okay, so now you can have a look at the notes, and then so that's the notes that I have sent you. My student have perhaps sent you online, and then so please check your email if you can see them, because actually we are using this okay as one of the exercises to work on. So please have a look at this one. Okay, so this is the one that we are using. Okay, and then so what we're going to do would be, okay, so I'll give you some like a few minutes and then to have a very quick look. Okay, and then so what we're going to do would be looking at this one and okay, try to find out okay, so which one? Okay, so this is the original text. Okay, and then so when we look at version A and B, which one do you think it would be the correct version of doing direct quotation? So can you have a quick look? So if you're online, and then so you can tell me like whether version A or version B is the correct direct quotations. So you can have a quick look. So does the student online there see the version? Okay, good. Thank you. Very nice. Okay, so this one we can see. Okay, so we have version B, right? Okay, so very clear because we can see like some of the things. Okay, so you may think about later on why we need all of these very tedious punctuations, and so look at all these. Okay, so basically when we do direct quotations, never forget like quotation marks. We are using direct quotation marks, not single. Yeah, and so this is actually like word by word. So if you look at the original one, the advent of radio broadcasting, okay, and then so that's actually the direct quotation. Together, never forget, okay, giving the credit to the original source. Okay, and then so that's the author's name, and then with the year of publication. Okay, so you may make sure that when you write down the author's name, it must be their last name. Okay, of the author, or the first name or the surname, okay, what we call as the surname, but never the first name of the authors. And so you may have to be careful of this. Okay, and then so I'm going to introduce to you like short and long quotations because it depends on like your need. And then so most of the time, it's quite easy to work on short quotations. However, okay, so many students actually would just keep using direct quotation marks, and then with the citation, they didn't know they can add some of the expressions or introductory words like here if we have to revise it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the ways when we are doing short quotations, which means fewer than 40 words. Okay, and then so we may have to introduce in our own words first. Okay, for example, like if you look at the first one. Okay, so that's actually like some of the words that we are introducing. And then so what's wrong with here? Okay, so then we can see. Okay, so besides the introductory words, okay, so again we also have the double quotation marks. Can you see the let me, it's a bit weird here with the shared screen. Seems like it's not following my progress. Okay, can you see this one? Why is not moving? Is it? Is it? It's okay, right? Okay. Okay. So then, let's look at here. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So after the introductory words, okay, we have to use like our own words to start with, and then we can check out the quotation marks whether we have it or not. Okay, and then finally, okay, so we need to try to look at the names for the original author and the year of publication. Okay, so if you look at this one, page number. Okay, so do you know why we need the page number? Sometimes if you look at different citations, they may have a page number and sometimes they don't have it. Do you know like what's the difference? If we have a page number, that means we are doing quotations. Okay, so if you are not doing quotations, maybe if you're paraphrasing from other sources, you don't need page number. Page number would be like showing a very specific location, and then so like maybe some of the people have to find it like from the original source. Okay, so these are actually like some of those that we need to look at. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce you like different ways how we can introduce quotes, because it can actually shows your writing ability. And then because instead of only using double quotation marks and then the citation, actually you can do more than that in order to improve your writing. Okay, so some of these could be like if you look at the here the notes, okay, so please have a look at your notes. Okay, so we have the notes here that it shows you. Okay. Okay, some of the ways how we can do it. Okay, and then so if you look at this one as a very like the original text, okay, and then so we can see we can have some of the introductory words included in the sentence, okay, and then we have the quotation marks, right? And then so there are actually different ways how you can do it. So you can try to match it like under here. Okay, so which one do you think would be using like try to integrate into your own sentence? Okay, or actually you are having the introductory sentence, or you are having the introductory signal phrase. Yeah, and then so there are actually different ways how we start with. So let me show you like some of the examples. Okay, so like we can have a look. We can try the first one here. Okay. All right. So if we look at this one. Okay, so this one is actually like to show you, oh, we have an introductory sentence. Okay, and then so this kind of sentence would be complete. And then we have to use a colon to show it. So this introductory sentence will be written by you, and then so you know how you're going to start with the quotation. For example, oh, in Denmark, a recent poll shows that support for the EU has grown since the Brexit vote. Okay, and then afterwards, you want to show us a direct quotation. Okay, so that's actually one of the ways how you can do it. Okay, so there are actually two different ways when you try to look at this one and this one. Okay, so can you see like the method of citation will be different? Sometimes it's put at the end, sometimes it could be at the beginning, and then so later on we will see actually what's the differences between these two. And then when we do our own writing, we need to vary all these kind of different types of different ways of citations so that you can show more of your own writing skills here. Okay, so this is like one of those that I had shown you as an example. And then, so can you try to have a look at here? Okay, and then finish another two. Okay, so which one do you think actually would be using the like signal phrase, starting with a signal phrase, and then which one actually may integrate your like the quotes in your own sentence? This one is actually number 2. Okay. Because we have the complete sentence before introducing the quotes. Okay. Okay. So if you look at this one, do you think that this is number 1 or 3? Can you try to show me your answer if you know it? Again, make a guess. Is it number 1 or number 3? You can type your answers in the chat box. Okay. So your answer is number 1 here, right? Okay. So actually, this one, okay, we would say this is number 3. Okay, so this is a signal phrase. So what means by a signal phrase? So you can highlight this one and this one. Okay, signal phrase is like before you start your quote or before you start writing anything, and then so you first have a phrase. Okay, and a phrase is not complete, right? It's not a sentence, so it's just a phrase. So you may say something like very simple. Okay, so for example, oh, based on something, according to something, okay, as someone explains, okay, or as someone concludes, and then as someone reports. Okay, so these are actually some of those that perhaps, okay, so we have to start using some of the signal phrases to say, okay, according to a recent poll, and then okay, you have your own like original source here. Okay, and then so some others like if we look at here, so this one will be number 1. Okay, what means by number 1? Integrating your own into the sentence. So look at the whole thing. If you look at the whole sentence here, so a recent poll suggests that EU membership would be backed by 55% of Danish voters. Okay, so this one is actually like in a complete sentence. And then you just put your quotation within the sentence. Can you see that? Okay, so that's why we would say like this one, you are actually integrating your quotes inside the whole sentence. Okay, so I would say like this is the easiest way because you can just try to grab some words, borrow a few words or phrases, and then put it into your sentence like this. Okay, but then never forget you can always try to vary your sentence structures, like using another for example, signal phrase or introductory sentences like here, and then to show what we can have, okay, before we have our direct quotation. Okay, so that's something actually we should try to improve all the time. Okay, and then so let's have a quick look of our PowerPoint slides here again. All right, and then so here are actually like the one that we have looked at. And then so now we can have a quick look of some of the differences of the citations. So look at this one. So this one is actually at the end. Can you see? The whole thing, because I have all the information first and I put it in the end. But sometimes you may want to say like, for example, the author reports that. report something. Okay, and then you can first show us the author's name, and then to introduce the quotation afterwards. So these are actually two different ways of citations that we'll be looking at. Okay, and so but we have to think about. Okay, so for example, page number should not be missed anyway, and then so they could be separated in this way. So this one, of course, will be easier. But again, like what I've said, we have to vary our sentence structures. Okay. Okay, good. And then so now let's look at block quotations. So usually this one would be used in longer reports. Like in academic essays, we don't really make use of block quotations because it's too long. And then so we don't usually have more than 40 words of quotation. But then in like very long report, it's very possible that we will have this kind of a long quotations. Okay, so this is also what we call as a block quotations because just look at it. Do you think that this is like a block? Okay, just like a square block. Okay, and so this is actually like very different from short quotations because when we look at the format, okay, and then so the formats actually will be something we have to care about when we work on the quotations. Okay, and then so if you look at this one, and then so this is also in your notes. So can you try to find out? Okay, so in your notes. Okay, so you may try to find out the here. Okay, so the long quotations and the short quotations. Okay, so there are actually two different versions of it. And then so you may try to look at the punctuation, look at the citations, and then look at the format and see actually what are some of the differences, okay, of the long and short quotations. So you can highlight or circle some of them. Don't worry about it. Okay, so because we may have connection problem. So you can have a look at the short and long quotations here and then find out the differences. So look at, like, we have very small differences. Look at the punctuation, look at everything, and then how you can write it. So are you able to write on the screen? Perhaps you can try to circle it on the screen and then to take part in our. Because actually we can use, if you know how to use it on Zoom, you can use the annotate, the button of annotate, and then so you can draw something here. Oh, you can't. Hmm. Don't worry about it. Oh, yeah, you can. I saw your thoughts here. Yeah, so you can try to circle anything that you find a difference. Very nice. Okay, anything else? So I can draw here as well. So maybe I use this pink green one. Okay, so we can actually have a look together. And then so first, if you look at the short quotations, it's very obvious we have this, right? We have the double quotation marks. But what about in long quotation? Do you see any quotation marks? Do we do quotation marks here? Here? So actually we don't. Okay. And so in long quotation, we don't have any quotation marks. Right. So that's actually the first difference. Okay. And then the second difference, so if you look at this here, okay, second difference, we have the introductory words here. Okay, so we have the introduction here, and then together with the colon. Okay, and then but this here, you of course you can have your introductory words. Okay, but then you don't have like a colon here, and then you separate your quotation in another block. Okay, can you see why this is called a block? Because it is like this. Okay, but then like here, we don't see a block at all. So you just input your direct quotation, whatever you copy it here. Okay, so this one is actually like very different from what we need. Because actually, short quotations would be very simple. Okay, you just put everything here. But like here, look at the indentation. Okay, so we need to do some kind of the indentation here. So the format is totally different, as we can see, right? And then something else is look at the full stop. Okay, this here. So always we put the full stop after the citation, but here we put the full stop here. Okay, can you see that? So they are all very tedious differences that we have to look at. Okay, and so let me show you. Okay, now, so what's some of the differences here? Okay, so we can actually see, okay, this one on the screen. Okay, as like in normal paper and the academic paper, they actually do in this way. Okay, so you may see like this one. Okay, so we have some kind of, okay, like here, we have the introduction here. Okay, and then with the colon. And then we start the whole block. Okay, and then so with the indentation. So this is very normal. Okay, and then so we have the full stop here. Okay, instead of like when we do it at the end, we have the full stop at the end, right? And then so this is actually like we have a very different citation method. So for example, this one, we have the authors here. Okay, and then we have the page number at the end. But sometimes, of course, you have everything like at the end. So if you just go back to this one, okay, so that's actually the same thing. Okay, and then so you can have all everything at the end as well. So it depends on how you write it here, and then of course, like how we are going to adjust some kind of the differences. Okay, so let's have a quick look again. Okay, so for some of those that we have to pay attention to, okay, we have to start with the introductory words with the colon, and then we need the block here. And then at the end, of course, we need the citation, but don't forget the full stop will be put before the citation here. Okay, and so let me show you very quickly. So this is another one. We have we have another okay, paper. Okay, so this one is actually an example for you, like in the whole paper. And so we have different citations. So if you look at all these, right? So these are all like, oh, we don't have like double quotation marks because these are all paraphrasing. Okay, but we still have the citations here. So we can look at some of these here, like as a long quotation. Okay, so this one is actually like the long quotation in a paper. Okay, so you see like, oh, we have a new paragraph here, and then we have another new paragraph here, and until here. All right. And then so can you see like the indentation? So we need the tab. So we need the particular block here for the long quotation. So this is actually how it looks like in a paper. Okay, and then so you will see the differences. And always remember, long quotation is not common. Okay, so usually only in like longer reports, etc. Okay, so are you good so far? Any questions? Okay, so then we can have a look at another type. Okay, so this is also the block quotations, but we can start with like the authors. Okay, and then so the authors here we have, so Flores et al. Describe something, and until here we also need the the colon. Okay, again, and then we have another block. All right, and so the full stop will be here, and afterwards we have the page number. Okay, so can you see a difference? Okay, so the difference of this versus this would be, okay, so we have the whole citation at the end. Okay, and then with the including the author's name, the year, page number. Okay, but then this one, okay, we start with the author's name, okay, and the year, and then the page number at the end, right? And then so, but we have to make use of this kind of, reporting verb. Okay, so this is what we call as a reporting verb. Someone described, okay, or actually like previously we have also seen this one. Someone concluded, Okay, and then so this is what we call as a reporting verb. So reporting verb is very important in all these kind of citations because they help us like locate a particular citation and with a particular function. So whether someone discussed something or analyzed or concluded something or maybe proposed a theory, so we need like different reporting verbs for that. Okay, and then so this is also one of the ways to show your writing skills because some students tend to use the same one. For example, someone said, okay, and then or someone reported that, but they didn't know like even for the reporting verbs, they have to pay attention to like varying different wordings. Okay. Okay, so now we can look at like this is what I have mentioned. So why sometimes we start with the author's name, sometimes we put the author's name at the end, and then so these are actually two type of citation methods. Okay, and then so one is called parenthetical citations, and then another one is called narrative citations. Okay, so I'm going to introduce to you like very quickly, and then we can have an exercise to work on, and then you know like how it is. Okay, so first we can see this one is parenthetical citations because okay, you know what means by parenthesis. So if you know what means by oops, hold on. Okay, if you know what means by parenthesis, parenthesis. Okay, so parenthesis that means bracket. Okay. Actually, this is a very formal name of brackets, parentheses. Okay, so if we have these, so already this is the name parenthetical citations. So what we have would be the author, okay, here, and then the date, okay, and then separated by a comma, okay, and then within or at the end of a sentence. So the full stop will be put at the end, okay, as we like always see. So if we look at this one, so this is also like parenthetical citations. So previously, okay, this one we only have one author, right? So this is easy. But sometimes you may have different studies. So this is study A, B, C. Okay, and then what we can do is we can join them with a semicolon. Okay, so you know sometimes we don't just focus on one citation because again, think about if you are doing a research paper, so perhaps you have to show your readers you have a comprehensive research. Okay, and so that's actually like how we do a research paper. Sometimes we see, oh, these are actually all different sources having the same finding, and then so actually I have a comprehensive study or the background of it. So this is also some of the ways. So think about what's the function of writing research paper. So we have to show the readers we have the particular background because we have read different sources. Okay, and then so this one okay will be only having one author, and then so that's actually like how we do it. So as you can see, there's no page number. Okay, and then because these are not like if you look at the double quotation marks, so there's no quotation marks, right? So that's why this is not direct quotations. If not direct quotations, so we don't see any page number here. Okay. And then so after the parenthetical citations, usually we have the whole bracket for the author, the year. Okay, now we have the narrative citation. So if you have like looked at some of the citation methods, you know they started with the author's name with a year. So look at the author's name. The author's name is actually within the sentence, not inside the bracket, right? So like here, Kohler noted the dangers. So this one, if we have to use narrative citations, probably we have to make use of reporting verbs. And then so, because actually you have to say like, oh, this author discussed that, or here this author noted that. And then so we have to put the like the reporting verbs here. So make sure that the surname is in the running text. Okay, so this is actually in the running text. But then the date of publication would be in the parenthesis. Okay, and then so this is actually like what we call as a narrative citation. So let's have a look at this one. Okay, so this is actually one of the examples. And then if we have the narrative citations, you can see the names are actually inside the text. Only the year will be within the brackets. So like, for example, one of the earliest studies to examine this by Bolton and Kwok was, okay, or you can have something like someone, look, hypothesize that. Okay, so can you see like these kind of reporting verbs. So it depends on like your function, how you are going to write with this. And then so for example, by like another recent study by Zhang shows something, or like here, as recently as 2013, Chen found that. Okay. And then so you can see like there are lots of reporting verbs we can actually make use of. And then so this is also one of the ways to show your writing skills. Okay. Okay, so you may look at like reporting verbs here. Okay, so this one is actually just some of them. If you now try to Google, then so you can actually see a lot of reporting verbs, and these are only just part of it, and it always depends on the purpose of it. You can say someone examined something, and then for example, the author considered that, or someone like described, or someone informed, presented, observed, etc. Okay, so we have to make use of those like depending on your needs and also the functions in the sentences. And then, but make sure that there are actually different levels of reporting verbs. And then, so you can see like some of these are more positive, and then some are actually kind of negative. For example, someone criticized something, or someone argued something, and then so that's like some of those that perhaps we have to look at it. Okay, and then so it depends on like how you are going to make your argument, and then so to make use of different ones. All right, and then so these are actually like different levels of reporting verbs. So some are more neutral, some are tensive, some are strong, and then so if we look at some of these here, okay, for example, so these are more neutral, like point out. Okay, so these are more neutral, some show something, right? And then so like confirm, so confirm would be stronger, okay, or emphasize would be stronger, okay, and then oppose would be something kind of negative. Okay, and then so that's why you may see like these kind of wordings also have their functions and strengths in different levels. And then so at the same time, we have to make use of the tenses. Okay, and then so regarding the tenses, sometimes you may see different journal articles. They may have present tense, or they may have like present perfect tense, or even simple past tense. But then how should we choose these tenses? So usually, just make it consistent. You have to think about, for example, like this. Let's look at some of the examples. So if you look at those, usually they use a past tense, right? And then Chen found that. Then so like perhaps like by book and quote, and then so here was something, and then so these are actually like the past tense that we usually use because they already happened, right? And so like some of these here, for example, like here. And so these are actually like everything in the past tense. But then, of course, you may also have present tense, like as these studies illustrate and other researchers confirm. Okay, and then so these kind of like present tense, okay, would help you to make it consistent with more of the like the present meaning, and as it has retained a strong symbolic. So that one would be something maybe more recent, and then you may use the present tense. Okay, and then but most of the time, okay, so I guess that would be easier to use past tense and just be consistent when you use it. Because sometimes students may use the present tense for the reporting verbs and then past tense for the like the content in there. But then we have to be careful. And then so if you're using present tense and then keep everything like present or like present perfect. And then if you're using past tense, for example, like this author reported that, okay, something happened. Okay, so try to make use of the tenses to make it more consistent. So there are actually something else for you, like here, and then regarding the like secondary sources, when we do the citation. Okay, so what means by secondary sources is this is very common, okay, because sometimes when we read a paper. And then in the paper, we see some other citations that we want to use, but we didn't read the original source. So in this case, we have to use this as a secondary sources, okay, not like the original text you are reading. And then so this one would be like here. For example, I'm reading this one, Leon et al. 2014. Okay, and then so in here, I saw another citation I want to use. So we have to use this one as cited in. Okay, as cited in. Okay, so actually this is the book that you're reading. You have to put it in the references. But for the one that you didn't read it, you don't need to put it in the reference. For example, like Rabbit, okay, 1982. I didn't find the original text to read it, but I just try to make use of the citation from Leon. And so in this case, you don't need to do the reference for Rabbit's one, okay, but do the citation for Leon. Okay, so this one is actually something many students have missed out because they think about, oh, I saw some other citations like in the text that I'm reading, and then I just use that citation and use it as mine. But usually that should not be the case, okay, because you didn't read the original one. Unless you go back to the original source, and then so of course you may use the original one. And in this case, you don't need like a cited in here. Okay. And then so now let's have a look at the exercise and then to work on a little. Okay, so we have the parenthetical and narrative citations here. Okay, and then so can you try to have a look here very quickly and then write down, okay, P for parenthetical and N for narrative citations. And then afterwards we can have a quick look at the answers. You can try to write down, okay, your answers here. Okay, we can use annotate. So you can write down the answers here. So is it, oops, is it P or N? You can just write it down. Okay, P or N. So you may just write it here directly. Okay, thank you very much. Let's have a look together and okay, very nice actually. Okay, so we can see, okay, okay, the first one is narrative. Okay, and then so think about what means by narrative and parenthetical. Parenthetical, that means we put everything, all the information inside the bracket, all the information. Okay, and then so that's why, like here, this one is correct. Okay, so we have the narrative citation. Okay, and then this one is also narrative actually. Okay. So because the author is actually in the running text, remember? Okay. And then this one is actually in parenthetical because look at this. The whole thing is inside the bracket. So this is parenthetical. So this one is also parenthetical. Okay, because everything inside a bracket. Okay, this one is narrative. Okay, because this one, that author's name is in the text. Okay, and then this one is parenthetical, correct. Okay, good. So good try. Okay, so yeah, you get it. So you can see we can have so many different ways of doing citations, which is really important in our writing. And then so we don't want to, every time we don't want to say according to A, according to B, according to C, right? I have seen students doing that, but of course, that's not a good way because you cannot have a variety of sentences. And then so we would try to have, for example, like here you can see this one, according to someone. Okay. Like one of them, according to someone. Okay. And then so someone described something. Okay, and then here we don't have anything, but we just have the information here. Okay, and then we put the citation at the end, or this one as well. So this is actually information starts first, and then we have everything at the end. Okay, and then so this one, someone noted. Okay, and then so this one, of course, you have a direct quotation, and so this one is just your own introductory words. So you can see you can use actually many different methods to do citations. Okay, and then so no matter it's paraphrase or it's direct quotations. So we see a direct quotations here. Okay, so all the double quotation marks, so that's direct quotations. So for any other things, like for example, this one. Okay, this one and like this and this. Okay, we will assume that they are all paraphrase. Okay, so now we are looking at what means by paraphrasing, and then so what kind of techniques we can do like to paraphrase something. So we have the original text, and now we have to rewrite it in our own words. Okay, so that's paraphrase. Okay, all right. So any questions so far? So anything that you want to ask? Otherwise, we can move on to the next part. Okay. Okay, so now let's have a look. Okay, great. Okay, so let's have a look at the next part here. Okay, so now we are looking at this one. Okay, how to avoid plagiarism when paraphrasing. And so that's actually like we have to understand first what means by paraphrase. Okay, paraphrase, that means you write something in your own words, okay, but you cannot just change some of the words. Okay, so we need to really try to rewrite everything. By using different techniques. Okay, and then so, of course, at the same time, don't forget citation. So citation is always something that we have to remember, as long as we are not using our own idea. Okay, and then so if you look at this one here, okay, and then so this is also like in your notes. Okay, so if you take a look at the notes here, okay, so please have a look at the original text, okay, first, and then compare these two. And then so tell me, like, which one would be a proper paraphrase? Is it A or B? So which one do you think would be a better paraphrase, A or B? So you can type your answers if you have it. So which one would be a better version if we have to rewrite it in our own words? Is it A or B? Let's have a look. Maybe B, you think. Okay, so why is it so? Do you know? Yes, you are correct. But do you know why? So maybe why A is not a good one. We can have a look at some of the words. Okay, so like here, like other marine animals, sea creatures. Okay, you are using different synonyms. Okay, synonyms that means with similar meanings, right? Okay, it looks fine, it seems, right? Look at that. Living, okay, near heavily. Okay, inhabiting, okay, that means living. So that's the same thing. And then heavily populated coast, highly populated coast. Okay, and then afterwards, okay, look at all of these like to development and pollution, to advancement and contamination. Okay, so it seems like they're changing all the words. Okay, but if you look at the structure, they're all the same. It seems like I just replaced these words. I replaced these words. Okay, and then but I didn't really change anything. Okay, so look at that. Their Gulf home and here habitat. That, again, that's the same thing. Okay, so this one I would say this is still okay, not a good paraphrase, and then so is very likely to be considered as plagiarism. Okay, and then because uh, only some of the words have been changed, but not the structure. Okay, or actually it's not, for example, lengthened or shortened. Okay, with some other things else, and then so this is actually like what we have to be careful when we're doing paraphrasing. Okay, now so now we have to look at like different techniques how we can do it. Okay, so this one would be the easiest one. Like just now, if you look at version 8, they are using synonyms. However, do you think that this is enough? Probably not, right? So we have to use all these techniques together. Okay, and then so for example, we have to change like part of the speech. And then so part of speech, like you have to change it maybe from noun to a verb, from a verb to a noun or to adjective, whatever. Okay, so for example, this one, okay, like according to John, professor of medicine, okay, changes across the globe, okay, global changes. So look at this, are causing diseases to spread, okay, are influencing the spread of disease. Okay, and then so like this one is a originally like a noun, and then now I change it to verb. Okay, changes across the globe. Okay, with a like prepositional phrase. Okay, and then here again verb. Okay, and then so that's actually changing parts of speech. Okay, I don't keep these noun phrases. Okay, but now I change them. Okay, with prepositional phrase, with some of the like the participle, and then etc. So that's actually one of the ways. And then some other ways would be, for example, this one is quite easy. Okay, changing the numbers and their forms. Okay, for example, if we have something like minority groups in the United States have been hit hardest by the epidemic. Okay, and then African Americans who make up 13%. Okay, so look at this, less than 15%. You can actually change some of these. Don't think about, oh, these are the numbers. I have to follow all of them, but it's not necessary. So just think about maybe you can use some other fractions like around 1/3, around 1/4. And then so it's up to you actually, as long as it's close to the original one. So like 46%, almost half, not yet half, but almost, right? And then so you can see like you can try to use like different weights to change these numbers, etc. And now of course if you look at the whole thing again, and then so like here the minority groups have been hit hardest. Okay, so this one, okay, from passive, okay, passive voice, and then so here you can see the AIDS epidemic has mostly affected minorities. Okay, becomes the active voice. Okay. So this is also like another way how we change it. So we're not just changing only the numbers, only some of the wordings, and then so, but here we also change the structure, okay, of the sentence. So these kind of sentence patterns, and then so you may have to be aware as well. Okay, so sometimes we can change the word order. Okay, for example, like this one. Someone reported that malaria kills more than 1 million people annually. Okay, and so like here, more than 1 million people are killed. So exactly like this one, can you see? Passive to active. Okay, and then so sometimes you can make use of like even different orders of the sentences. Maybe this one maybe put first here, and then so maybe later on if you change it, you can put it in the last, and then so there will be like different ways how you can change all of those. Okay, and then so like this one, we have particular sentence structures. For example, using although here. But we don't have although, but instead we separate the two sentences to however. Okay, and then about 1/10, you see, like approximately. So we use synonyms and then we change, okay, also the numbers here. Okay, and then so however, this area of the world has the highest percentage of AIDS-related illnesses. In fact, okay, so you can see this one have only one sentence. Okay, you can see like the whole sentence is only one sentence, but this one actually okay, have been separated into 3 sentences. Okay, so like in 2000, like during 2000 at the end, almost 3/4. Okay, 72%. Right. So it's not that difficult to change to paraphrase all of these. Of course, nowadays we can make use of ChatGPT. However, ChatGPT have a very consistent sentence pattern that it can be easily seen through. Okay, and then so perhaps you have to try to change it on your own first, and then of course you can compare it with ChatGPT and then see how it is. Okay, and then also we can actually have a look at like some of the, let me check it out, because we can also make use of like, I don't know why the ChatGPT doesn't work today. That otherwise we can use it. So I guess if you have like the account, okay, you can make use of this. Okay, you know, we have our own ChatGPT, right? And so perhaps you can try to copy and paste like some of these here or your own version of paraphrase, and then ask ChatGPT to paraphrase for you. Okay, and then you can check out the differences of those, and then but like one of the weaknesses of ChatGPT is they really have very consistent sentence structures. And also some kind of particular wordings that you have to avoid. And then otherwise, your work may be suspected that, oh, it's written by ChatGPT. Okay, and then so but maybe it's not. So try to be more evaluative, even if you are using ChatGPT. Okay, but I'm not sure like why. I just try, but it doesn't work today. Yeah, otherwise we can have a quick look there. Okay, so then let's go back and have a quick look. Okay, so now we can see here. Okay, so here are actually some of the ways how we can do paraphrasing. Okay, so make sure that, for example, you use your own words. Okay, and then so think about like you are using your like you have to paraphrase it like substantially, and then so not just change some of the words or just change some of the structures. If you change the structures like from passive to active, but without any change of synonyms, that would be still considered as plagiarism. Okay, and and make sure that the original meaning is correct, and don't forget citation. So this is something always that is very important. So we can actually now have a quick look of like.
丹麥藍罐曲奇係值得你屋企嗰位女王享有嘅皇家獻禮。
So I want to show you this very short videos and how to paraphrase in 5 easy steps by looking at some examples.
Here, probably know a thing or two about paraphrasing, but still struggle to master the art of it. Fear not, I'll explain how to paraphrase in 5 easy steps and give you a few tips along the way. Stay tuned! Hi, I'm Jessica from Scribber, and we're here to help you achieve your academic goals. And in this video, we'll be talking about paraphrasing. So, what is paraphrasing? A paraphrase is a rewriting of a specific passage from someone else. It's done in your own words, without changing the original meaning and also not removing any information. Okay, we know the meaning, so let's get started. Here are 5 easy steps to paraphrasing. Step 1. Read the passage several times to fully understand the meaning. Step 2. Note down the key concepts. Step 3. Write your version of the text without looking at the original. Step 4. Compare your paraphrase text with the original one, and if you find phrases too similar, make changes. Step 5. Cite the source of the text like the example here. You can also cite easily with the Scribber citation generator. Remember, you don't need the quotation marks to paraphrase. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You know the steps, but it's still quite difficult to actually produce a piece of text that's different from the original. Don't you worry, I have 4 tips to help make everything easier for you. Whenever you see this little pause button, it's there to remind you if you ever need more time to read through the examples, you can pause and take your time. Tip number 1. Start your first sentence at a different point from the original source. Tip number 2. Use synonyms. Make use of the thesaurus if you can't think of any synonyms. Tip number 3. Change the sentence structure. Try using passive voice if the original text used active, and vice versa. Final tip. Break long sentences into smaller sentences, or combine sentences into a longer one. In this example, you can see we've applied the 4 tips. First, we introduce the context followed by the last part of the original sentence, which is the expectations of creators, regulators, and users. We also use quite a few synonyms, such as exposed a critical turning point, made it apparent, outpaces, rapidly eclipsed, power, immense influence. Third, we change from active to passive voice. Technology outpaces what users, regulators, or even its creators expected. The expectations of creators, regulators, and users have been rapidly eclipsed by technology. And finally, the original was one long sentence. We broke it into 2 smaller sentences. Now that you know the tips for paraphrasing, make sure you don't confuse it with quoting, which is when you copy a source word by word. Naturally, you should end up paraphrasing most of the information you found instead of quoting if you have done your research thoroughly, which is ultimately a better solution since it shows that you have digested your text, your paper will have a much better flow, plus your voice will remain dominant throughout the paper. With that being said, only use quotes when you are giving a definition, presenting an author's position, or when you want to support your argument. Make sure to check out this video on how to quote if you're interested. And that's it for today's video. If you've learned something, give this video a like, and if you have a question, ask away in the comment.
Okay, so are you good with this? So I guess you may need more practice if you would like to really try to paraphrase something, because this is not only for our academic papers, but one day when you have to work, and then so when you write report or whatever, and then so actually this is a very like common technique, okay, that actually we need to work on. Okay, and then so I guess we can have a very quick summary here, and then so I would like to show you like a quiz, and then so see if you are um like good at it. And so let's have a quick look of this one. Okay, so if you are here on Zoom and see this one, so you can scan the code, okay, and then have a quick like quiz. So we can do it like very quickly, and then as a summary. So now you know about like how to do quotation, how to do paraphrasing, and then different ways of citations, then etc. Right? Okay, great. Okay, so let's have a look. And Okay, congratulations, Justin. You're doing really good. And then so I guess as a you're year 1, right? Yeah, as a year 1 student, and then so there may be quite a lot to learn about like all these skills. And then so I guess when you try to read other journal articles, and then so you can pay attention to how they do this kind of quotations or paraphrase. And of course, if you have to work more on paraphrase, it takes a lot more effort. Maybe you have to look at the original text and then compare with the paraphrase one. But you can also try your own. Okay, and so like what I've said, you can try to write on your own, and then maybe compare your version with ChatGPT and see how you can improve afterwards. But just don't rely on their writing, and then because it looks like really very like kind of common structure that we have. Okay, and then so I guess if we look at like some of those, and then so perhaps you may see like these are okay. Great. Yeah. Okay, so these are some of the ways how we can do like quotation and paraphrasing. Okay. And then so summary would be something like we have to shorten it. And then so it's kind of very like paraphrasing, but you just point out only the important ideas. Okay, but then you are using also your own words to write it. Okay. And then so do you have any questions so far then? Anything that you want to know or you want to ask? Anything particular? Because so if not, and so a student helper will send you the evaluation form now. Could you please have a look at the link you you sent? Yeah, you can have a look at the link, and so you can check it out there, and so please give us some comments and feedback. And so thank you so much for coming today. Okay, and so if you need more information, do let me know. Okay, and so I can provide you with more of the like assistance if you need. Okay. So that will be the end. If you do not have any other questions, and thank you so much for coming. Okay, and then hope to see you again, and thank you for your support. We have another workshop tomorrow, so see if you're free to join then. Okay. So thank you very much, and see you.